Getting to level 30 is one of the biggest goals in Anthem, so you can try and get the best items in the game. In this video I will tell you the fastest way to get there in my experience and how you can get the most out of every mission. So you always have the highest amount of XP at the end of the expedition compared to the other players. So let's get into it. If you enjoy that, then a like would be super appreciated, and let's go. Getting the most XP out of an expedition is all about getting gold feats and knowing when to switch up your playstyle to unlock them. Because the more of these medals you have at the end of the expedition, the more XP you get. It all starts with knowing the different feats that you can earn during an expedition, and you can actually see them in your journal that you can open in Fort Tarsus under Feats. So you got your general ones that you get for completing a certain activity like a stronghold or world events or a mission on hard, or by playing an expedition with other people. And I want to talk a little bit more about these end of the mission feats in a second, because I believe that doing the quick play missions on hard is really the fastest way to get XP. But again, more on that a little later. But even more importantly are the feats that you earn while playing, because you can actually have a lot of impact on them, and understanding the system and getting it under your control will help you a lot during the rest of the game. There are feats for killing enemies by hitting them on their weak points, or with weapons, or with combos, or by using your gear, as we see in the next section here, with the multi-kills, your melee kills, your ultimates, but also for supportive things like reviving your teammates and finding materials and collectibles in the world. So what you want to do during these expeditions is making sure you complete as much of these feats as possible. So that would be for the supportive things that you always want to make sure that you go and revive someone. Like, make it a focus, because you will be greatly awarded. Like, after reviving 3 people, you already have the gold feat. If you really want to go crazy, you can ask a friend if he could die so you can revive him, and then you can die so he can revive you, and do that a few times and you both have the gold feat at the end of the expedition. I said crazy, right? But it does give you more XP. But also, every time you see a material, go and loot it, because in the end it will award you with more XP. For combat, this is even more interesting, because getting the most out of this feats system basically means that you want to focus on one playstyle and then switch over to the other thing. What I found extremely powerful is focusing on the combo attacks with my Colossus. I really found that the Colossus is great for leveling up fast, because you can easily complete a ton of feats, and you are of course pretty tanky, so you can focus on these challenges without having to worry that you might die. Also with the Colossus you can easily trigger combos, and there's of course a combo feat. So what I did is use the flamethrower until I primed the enemy, so then you see this burning icon above their heads, and then just jump and use your melee attack, because this will combo the enemies. And why the Colossus is also really nice is that the combo causes this explosion that then also hits a lot of other enemies that then combo as well. So then you easily get the 5 required enemies that are needed for this bronze combo feat, but also the 5 that are needed for the silver one, and then again you need 5, so 15 combos in total for the gold version of the combo feat. So you get that pretty fast. Plus you also rank up some melee kills, so then you are working on that feat as well. But this is just an example, because it all comes down to making sure you get a gold feat as fast as possible and then move on to the next feat. But yeah, you can of course do it with every javelin. It really depends on your playstyle. I just found out that the Colossus is great to get a golden combo feat, and you can easily again defend yourself to stay alive, because if you die you miss out on a lot of potential kills, so you cannot work on your feats. And now something important, because now that I got the golden feat for the combo, I'm not going to focus on those combos during this expedition anymore. While this might only be the best tactic in terms of damage output, since I already have the golden combo feat, so I cannot get any more XP by playing this way. So I want to switch it up and now either go and kill enemies with my gear or with my weapons. I mostly go for weapons after this, because then you can actually do 2 birds in 1 stone by focusing on the weak points of the enemies and then killing them with the weapons. Like the Scar enemies are of course easy. Focus on their heads, have that pop off for a weapon, but also a weak point kill that counts towards that feat. Marksman rifles are great for this, but also assault rifles or light machine guns in my experience. Just make sure that you are easily able to kill the enemy with a shot to the weak point. And that's why I think that weapons with a large magazine are nice, so you don't have to like reload all the time, while trying to kill the enemy. Focusing on the weaker and smaller enemies is also key for getting the most feats at the end of the expedition. Do you see a big enemy with a shield? Just ignore it. You can better focus on the smaller enemies because those die obviously faster, so you can work on your kills to get your feats completed. And also in a situation when there are like endless enemies coming at you until you complete a certain objective, I think it's smart to focus on the kills here as well. Of course, totally help your team out. Don't be someone that is just like running around not helping anyone. Stand in the green circle, for example. But totally when there are things to grab and your team is already chasing them, I think it's smarter to focus on killing the enemies yourself, getting those gold feats, because you have no time left when the mission is over. You also have to keep the feats in mind when using your ultimate. Sure, it's nice to do it on a high health single target, but it's way smarter to use it when facing an enormous group of enemies, because then you can easily get the multi-kill feat or chase the feat for the ultimate kills. So yes, for example, save your ultimate for when you are like facing a big group that just spawned. But yeah, overall the key thing is that you want to focus on getting one gold feat and then move on to another playstyle and only do that until you get that gold feat, because it's better to have a few gold feats than a lot of different feats that are all bronze and some silver. When killing enemies, you will of course see when one of the feats is completed, but it's always smart to check your feats as well during the expedition. Just go to the menu, go to tracked, and here you will see how you are doing. Would be nice if you could actually check it while being down, but that is sadly not the case right now. Maybe something that will change in the future. So yeah, sometimes it's nice to see how far you are, so you know what you can focus on. There are feats though that you really cannot do anything about, like the Legendary Slayer, where you have to defeat a special legendary enemies, and the number you encounter of course really depends on the mission. But you can maximize some of these completion feats as well. Like make sure you always play on hard when doing expeditions, because that gives you 800 extra XP. And hard is totally not difficult even with 3 random other players. And totally play with other players because that gives extra XP as well. And then you can of course also get the revive feat, because if you are playing alone you cannot revive anyone. So totally play with other players. And yes, when I say put the game on hard, I'm not talking about the strongholds or the free play, because in the free play you are with 3 other players, but they are like somewhere else in the map. So mostly not in the same location, so you might want to consider going for normal unless you are playing with a pre-made team. And the strongholds are just way harder than your regular missions, so putting them on hard will really be a tough challenge. Now in my experience, doing the quick play missions is the fastest way to get XP in Anthem. So just go to the map, hit X on Xbox or square on PS4, select missions here, put the game on hard, go for a public lobby, and then you will join someone else's mission. But in most cases this mission is already in progress, so most of the times you join players while they are halfway through the mission, or maybe even at the end during the last boss fight of that expedition. And sure, in those situations it will be hard to try and get a lot of the golden feats, but the reward at the end makes it all worth it, because all the feats you complete at the end of the mission are counted, even if you joined in the very last 5 minutes of that expedition. So sometimes I get dropped into a mission near the end, kill some enemies or the Titan boss in this case, and then you also get all the rewards at the end, so all the feats that you unlock at the end. So that could mean more than 3000 XP in just a few minutes if you successfully helped the group complete the expedition. That's pretty sick. So then I go to the forge, equip the loot you received. It will not be a lot because you are mostly focused on XP with this tactic, but the loot is like only really interesting when you reach level 30 anyways. And then after you made your character the best it can be, you go back into the quick play, do it on hard, public, and then go into a new mission. You will likely complete it pretty fast and then just rise and repeat. So when I say make your character the best it can be, I'm not talking about doing the most type of damage, but mostly focus on getting the feats cleared. So I keep my flamethrower on, for example, so I can easily do the combos and some nice weapons for the weak point kills, instead of maybe equipping a sniper rifle that might have more power. Like if you want to level up as fast as possible, again you want to focus on these golden feats. One time when doing the quick play I was thrown in the middle of a mission during a cutscene, so I had to fully watch that. but not a lot of missions in this game have cutscenes, so you will mostly be fine and just join halfway through or even near the end, and then can benefit from the amazing end of the expedition XP. I have been doing this a lot now and gained a lot of levels in a relatively short period of time, so if you just want to reach level 30, the max level in Anthem, as soon as possible to finally get some good gear that is really worth your time, then totally do this tactic. But yeah, even when going through the main story, something you want to do anyways to unlock different strongholds as well, then you totally want to focus on these feats too, because you want to get the most XP out of those missions. Subscribe for way more Anthem content. I will of course have way more tips and tricks up, and also keep you up to date on everything that is coming to the game and going on in the game. Like the video to support channel, and check out my recent Anthem videos by clicking one on the screen. I will speak to you next time, and goodbye.